The security footage flickered, grainy but undeniable, exposing Karen Whitmore's smug grin as she stuffed military-grade night vision goggles into her oversized tote. By morning, the HOA office was a war zone of whispers, and the truth was a Molotov cocktail ready to ignite. Karen Whitmore, self-proclaimed queen of the Pinewood Estates HOA, had ruled the neighborhood with an iron grip and a saccharine smile for 3 years. Her title as vice president was a badge she wore like a crown, her every word laced with the authority of someone who believed they were untouchable. She'd fine you for a crooked mailbox, lecture you on lawn maintenance, and somehow always had a connection to justify her meddling. But nobody expected her to cross this line-stealing, restricted military reconnaissance gear from a veteran's storage locker in the community center. The cameras, installed after a string of petty thefts, caught every second of her betrayal. The story began 6 weeks ago, when Ethan Caldwell, a former Army Ranger, moved into Pinewood. Lean, quiet, and scarred from tours in places he didn't talk about, Ethan kept to himself. He'd stored his old gear night vision goggles, tactical vests, encrypted comms in a locked cabinet at the community center, a favor granted by the HOA for his service. Karen, however, saw Ethan's arrival as a threat. His refusal to bow to her petty rules, his unmowed lawn, his truck parked an inch over the line drove her to obsession. "He's hiding something," she'd hiss at HOA meetings, her eyes gleaming with suspicion. Military types always are. Her vendetta grew teeth when she overheard Ethan discussing his gear with a friend at the community pool. "High-grade stuff," he'd said, voice low. "Not for civilian hands." To Karen, it was a challenge. She didn't just want to control the neighborhood. She wanted to prove she could outsmart a soldier. Her plan was audacious. Break into the storage, take the gear, and frame Ethan as reckless, unfit to live among decent people. She'd sell the equipment online for a tidy profit. Her PayPal account was already set up under a fake name. Late on a Thursday night, Karen slipped into the community center. The cameras, silent sentinels, recorded her every move. She jimmied the lock on Ethan's cabinet with a hairpin, her hands steady despite the risk. Night vision goggles, a tactical headset, and a GPS tracker vanished into her bag. She even smirked, as if daring the darkness to snitch. But Karen didn't know the center's new security system uploaded footage to the cloud in real time. By dawn, the office manager, Sarah Nguyen, had seen it all. Sarah, barely 28 and already burned out from Karen's tyranny, was no pushover. She'd taken the job to pay off student loans, not to play servant to a power-hungry HOA dictator. The footage was her weapon, and she wasn't about to let Karen slither away. She called Ethan first, then the board, and by noon, Pinewood Estates was a pressure cooker ready to blow. The confrontation unfolded in the HOA office, a cramped room smelling of stale coffee and printer ink. Ethan stormed in, his jaw tight, eyes blazing with a fury that made the air feel thin. Karen sat behind the desk, her posture regal, as if she'd already won. Sarah stood by the door, clutching a USB drive with the footage, her hands trembling but her resolve ironclad. The board members, a mix of spineless retirees and busy professionals, shuffled in, their faces a mix of dread and curiosity. "You stole my gear," Ethan said, his voice low but sharp enough to cut glass. "Military property. Restricted. You have any idea what that means?" Karen leaned back, her lips curling into a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about, Ethan. Maybe you misplaced it. Soldiers can be so careless." Sarah slammed the USB onto the desk. "Don't lie, Karen. We have you on camera. Every second of it." The room went silent, the kind of silence that hums with rage. Karen's smile faltered, but only for a moment. "Footage can be edited," she said, her voice syrupy with defiance. You're all so quick to believe a washed-up soldier over me. I've kept this neighborhood pristine. What's he done? Parked his junker truck like a slob. Ethan took a step forward, his fists clenched. That gear's not a toy. It saved lives. You think you can just pawn it off and walk away? Karen stood, her heels clicking on the linoleum. You don't scare me, Ethan. You're nothing but a has-been with a chip on your shoulder. This neighborhood deserves better than you. Sarah, shaking with anger, cut in. Enough, Karen. You're not the queen here. You're a thief, and we're done with your games. The board members shifted uncomfortably, their loyalty to Karen fraying. One, an older man named Harold, cleared his throat. We've seen the footage, Karen. It's clear. You need to explain yourself. Karen's facade cracked. Her eyes darted to the door, then back to Ethan. You're all conspiring against me, she spat. I've given everything to this place, and you'd rather trust a soldier with PTSD and a nobody secretary. Ethan lunged forward, stopping inches from her. Call me what you want, but you crossed a line. That gear isn't just Minites tied to people who didn't make it back. You disrespected them. The room felt like it might combust. Sarah played the footage on her laptop, the grainy image of Karen's theft filling the screen. Gasps rippled through the board. Karen's face drained of color, but she doubled down. This is a setup, she screamed, knocking papers off the desk. You're all jealous of me. Sarah stepped forward, her voice steady despite her shaking hands. You're done, Karen. The police are on their way. You can't talk your way out of this. The cops arrived 10 minutes later. Karen's bravado crumbled as they cuffed her, her protests dissolving into sobs. Ethan watched, his face unreadable, a mix of vindication and disgust. Sarah handed over the USB, her shoulders slumping with relief but her eyes haunted. The board members filed out, muttering about lawsuits and resignations. Pinewood Estates would never be the same. Karen's arrest made local news. The stolen gear, recovered from her garage, was returned to Ethan, but the damage was done. The neighborhood fractured half saw Karen as a villain, half as a victim of a witch hunt. Ethan moved out a month later, unable to stomach the whispers. Sarah quit the HOA, taking a job at a nonprofit, vowing never to work for another bureaucracy. The community center's cameras kept rolling, but trust was harder to rebuild than a broken lock. Karen's trial was a circus. She claimed entrapment, mental distress, anything to dodge accountability. The judge wasn't swayed. She got 3 years for theft and possession of restricted items, a sentence that felt both too harsh and not enough. Ethan didn't attend the trial. He didn't need to. The footage had spoken for him. In the end, Pinewood Estates was left with a bitter truth. Power, unchecked, breeds betrayal. Karen's fall wasn't just about stolen gear, it was about a community that let one woman's ego run rampant. The wooden clipboard from the HOA office, scrawled with "Deceptions unravel in seconds," now sits in Sarah's apartment, a reminder of the day she stood up. What do you think? Did Karen's punishment fit her crime? Or was she a product of a community that enabled her? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this mess.